you're well. My name's Faye and this is my husband Umair, and today we're going to make chicken karahi.
Yes, chicken karahi, it's from Lahore in Pakistan, and it's the most loved dish in Pakistan, and today I'm going to show you how authentic chicken karahi is made. It's made in a special pan which is very similar to this copper pan that I have here, and we'll see how it's made, and you must try it. And I think that for chicken it's the best dish you can prepare with chicken, whether it's boneless or with bones. Okay, let's start with the ingredients. Sunflower or vegetable oil, chicken which can either be on the bones or boneless. Today we'll be using boneless. Traditionally it's done with chicken on the bones, but we'll be using boneless, and we have cut it into small pieces. So for chilies, red chili powder 1 teaspoon, half teaspoon of turmeric powder, 2 tablespoons of coriander powder, half teaspoon of garam masala, 1.5 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of Desi ghee, half lemon, some ginger to garnish towards the end. You can cut it in thin slices, which will be used for garnish later on. 6 or 7 green chilies sliced in the center lengthwise, just in this form. Then we have ginger and garlic paste, which is approximately 1 tablespoon each, so you can use 1 inch approximately of ginger and 6 or 7 cloves of garlic to get this much paste. We have 2.5 tablespoon of yogurt, and on top of yogurt is crushed black peppercorns. We have some coriander which we'll be using for garnish towards the end. We'll chop it finely later on. 1 brown onion which is chopped, and we'll be using it to start the dish, and 7 or 8 medium-sized tomatoes cut into halves.
Okay, so to start this dish, I've just put the pan on to a medium-low heat, and I'm just going to coat the bottom in some oil. So roughly enough just to cover the pan. Just about that much looks fine. And then once that's heated up, I'll add the onions. Okay, so I've just tested the oil with an onion, and it's sizzling away, so it's hot enough. I'm just going to now add all the onion to the oil. And we're waiting for this to go a nice golden colour, just to cook through. Okay, so the onions are getting gold now, so it's time to add the chicken. So I'm just gonna add that now. Gently, not to splash myself, hot oil. So at this point just mix it slowly so it doesn't stick to the bottom, but not roughly enough so that it breaks the chicken up. So you still want those pieces to be together. And I'm just going to cook this through until the water has gone from the chicken and it's a nice white colour as well. So it's important when adding the chicken that it's on a low heat. So you just use the low heat pretty much throughout the whole of this recipe.
I've taken over now. So one thing very important when adding chicken to the hot oil, just make sure it's on low temperature so that it doesn't stick to the pan. the chicken will release its own water and get cooked in its own water, and unless that happens, that water is dry, we don't add anything else to it. Any stir which you will be doing occasionally when preparing this dish, just make sure it's a gentle stir so that chicken doesn't break. And if you see, it's releasing its own water now, so we'll let it cook in this water unless the water is dry, and then we add ginger and garlic paste to it.
Okay, so the water has now reduced and the chicken is cooked through nicely. So it's time to add the ginger and garlic paste. And what this will do is it will take out any unwanted aroma and add a nice sort of scent to the dish. So I'm going to just add that now. So this is the paste going in. And I'm just going to now cook that through for about a couple of minutes along with the chicken. So I'm just adding the half a lemon now to the chicken and the ginger and garlic paste. I'm going to then fry that together. And what the lemon is going to do is just help to absorb all the spices, which will be on the next stage.
Faye has prepared this chicken very nicely. It looks very nice, and it's ready for the spices to go in now. And the spices which I'm going to add at this stage is red chilli powder, then turmeric will go in, and coriander powder will go in next. So salt and garam masala is for later, and garam masala doesn't need to be added at this stage because it doesn't need cooking like these spices do. We're just going to stir fry it more so that chicken absorbs all the spices nicely and the spices get fried as well. One thing I would like to mention at this stage is we started with onions. If you're doing chicken karahi on bones, the only step you can skip is adding onions, because chicken karahi, if on the bones, doesn't need onions. So you can start with chicken and the rest of the process is the same. So if you look at the color, it looks very nice. That's the color from turmeric and red chili powder. And if you see, the oil has separated, the gravy, it has left oil, so that means the masala is ready, and it's time to add a splash of water. Again, it's hot water from the kettle. It's never add cold water to when cooking. After adding hot water, it just takes literally 15-20 seconds for it to be ready for the tomatoes to go in. So I'm going to add tomatoes to it now. I'm going to add a little more water to it so that the tomatoes get nicely done. And so far it's been approximately 30 minutes, 25-30 minutes, and tomatoes would take another, I would say, 20 minutes to get dissolved, and that's when we'll continue with our cooking. So for now I'll just leave the tomatoes to get dissolved.
Smells nice.
Yeah, looks nice colored chicken with red tomatoes.
Yeah.
So the first time Faye tried this dish was back in the days when she was still a vegetarian, and she's going to share that with us.
It's just a funny memory, really, that we were just talking about. So he'd made chicken karahi the same way, and it was smelling very nice, and I was quite tempted to try it. So you gave me a little bit of the masala on a bit of bread.
It just I wanted you to try the whole chicken karahi, but you insisted that you're just going to try some chicken masala, which you did.
Yeah.
And
well, I thought it was
she
lovely.
really loved the taste of the masala, not the chicken. And the question she asked me was that, can you not make it without chicken? And I smiled because the taste, yes, it's the spices and everything, but it's a combination of taste. When you cook it with chicken, you cannot make it without chicken. And it was a funny memory.
From that day on, I suppose I realised
this was
what meat was meant to taste
probably
like.
the dish which converted you to become a non-vegetarian.
I was definitely getting curious by like the smell and definitely, I think so. You were a big part of that with your cooking.
Yeah.
But I mean, now that I know a little bit more about the kind of foods you've grown up on, I was saying like how excited I'd be when we go to Pakistan after COVID finishes to go and try some, because I've heard that Lahore is meant to be the place to eat food. And
Lahore has big food culture, and traditionally this dish chicken karahi is mostly made in the restaurants. It's a very street food kind of dish which has not really been made at home. I don't remember my mother or anyone making it at home. They would make chicken which would taste very nice, but not chicken karahi. I love chicken karahi because I remember during my college days and university days we would play cricket during the night, and the street food would stay open until dawn back in the days, and then we would go and have some chicken karahi as breakfast. It's literally this street food is 24 hours in Lahore, and it's just amazing. That's one thing I really miss about Lahore.
Yeah, everything shuts pretty early in this country, doesn't it? One day, let's hope we can go and eat our way through Lahore. Lots more to try, huh?
The tomatoes are nice and soft now, so I'll just help them by pressing. What that does is it helps them to dissolve quicker. And at this stage I'll add some salt to the dish as well. So it's again 1.5 teaspoon of salt, so I'll just spread it. Give it a gentle stir.
Okay, so if we have a little look, you can see that now it's cooked down loads, so the tomatoes have dissolved and a lot of the water has also reduced down. So what you'll want to look for is that the oil is sort of forming on the top. It's separated from the water, which if you can kind of see in these sort of oily little blotches, you can see that that's the oil. So that's a really good sign that the spices have cooked through nicely, and the masala's pretty much ready. So to the next stage that I'm going to go for now is we've got the yogurt and the black pepper. So I'm just going to give this a little mix. So this was 2 tablespoons of yogurt and 1 teaspoon of black pepper. So just to mix that all together. And then I'm going to take this off the heat before I add it. Okay, so just so it cools a little bit, because when we add it we don't want the yogurt to curdle. So what this is going to do, the yogurt is going to give a really nice sort of silky, creamy texture, and the pepper is just going to add sort of a depth of flavour, and just give it a sort of another layer of sort of heat, but in sort of the background of it. So let me just show you how to add it. So it's off the heat, it's going in now. Oops, pretty much all of it. And then I'm just going to slowly sort of fold it in, just so we reduce the risk of it sort of curdling and becoming a bit lumpy, as we want that nice silky texture. Okay, so I don't know if it's just a little bit more clearer, but you can kind of see a little bit around the edge what I meant about the oil separating, if it wasn't too clear before. Just around here, just around the edges. So that's quite folded in nicely now, and it also hasn't curdled, luckily. So it's now going back on the heat, and it's going to just reduce down a little bit more, make that masala really rich and tasty. Okay, so now you can see the colour is becoming that slightly more richer, reddy orange colour from the previous shot, and the oil is beginning to separate a little bit more, and what I'm now doing is just putting it on a slightly higher heat, so high to medium, just to sort of give it that slightly thicker texture, and just to bring those flavours out even more. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add my green chillies, and give it a little stir on the high medium heat. So many chillies might not be your kind of taste, but I think when they are cooked down a little bit, and they become slightly more softer, it becomes, the flavour of chillies is so lovely, and the seeds will come out a little bit. I've cut mine in half, so it's not going to be a scorching heat when I actually eat them. It's going to be just the sort of the flavour of the green chilli, which I think is very nice. And the next little bit which I'll do is to add the Desi ghee, which is optional really. It's not, you don't have to use it, but me and my husband think it gives a really nice aroma and flavour, and it just sort of finishes off the dish, I think, with a nicer sort of texture. So I like to use it in this dish. But it's getting a little bit hotter now, so I'm just keeping it moving, making sure that I get that sort of nicer consistency, a bit of a thicker sauce, and it'll bring all the flavours together a little bit more. Now that the sauce has started to thicken a little bit more, the chillies have become a little bit more soft, I'm quite happy with this consistency because we'll be serving this with rice today, and I personally like a little bit more sauce with my rice. If I was to be serving this with roti, naan, I would reduce it a little bit more just so that it has sort of a less saucy texture, a little bit easier to eat with. So it's now time to add the Desi ghee, which I'm doing again on a high to medium heat. This is sort of 1 heaped teaspoon. And I'm just going to let that fold in. You can really smell that Desi ghee when you add it. Just finishes off dishes really nicely. Just one final point, you can see here that the Desi ghee, the oil has separated, it's coming really nicely on the top, and that's what you want to look for in your final result. It just shows that the spices have cooked through nicely and you're going to be left with a really nice sort of masala. There we go. So I'm just going to add it into a little bowl, and I'm going to show you how we garnish this dish. I think we need some chillies in this. Okay, so let me just take it over here. And what we have is the Garam masala. Now the Garam masala adds another layer of heat but another layer of flavour. And so what we're going to do, just take a pinch and sprinkle it over the top. A little dusting, just like that. And then we've got the finely sliced ginger. You can do it a little bit more finely, that was my bad chopping. But it just gives sort of like a little bit of a different texture, really nice flavour, really refreshing. And then here I've just got some finely chopped coriander, and that's going on top as well. And that is the finished dish. So next I will show you our rice and how it tastes, and hopefully it tastes as nice as it smells and it looks. So the chicken karahi is done, which it looks really nice. As I said, we've served this with a pilau rice. This recipe will be linked down below if you're interested in how we've made that. So now the fun part begins. So I'm just going to try maybe on here a little bit. Make sure I get a chilli in there. Or two. Okay. Moment of truth. It's not easy doing this standing up. Right. We've got some on the plate now. Ready? It's really nice, and the chilies aren't too hot, they just add that really nice flavour. I can't wait for my husband to try. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe to our channel, and I hope to see you in our next video. Take care, bye for now.